Hello everyone, I'll present a work here where we use fully actuated multi-fingered hands with tactile sensors to grasp objects. So this is our setup. There's an unknown object on a table, a fixed depth camera on the side, and our robot. We want the robot to pick up the object. To do that, the robot must make contact with the object, which surface we estimate from the camera input. Now the estimated surface is not perfect. So we want to consider that when we are making contact with the surface. How to do that? We'll leverage tactile sensors on the robot to detect the object's surface while the robot is trying to make contact with the surface. Now, unfortunately, the robot is not fully covered with tactile sensors. Instead, the tactile sensors are only here on the fingertips. So we need to plan to make contact with the fingertips to increase chance of making contact with the tactile sensors. However, on the flip side, this is fortunate since many daily tasks benefit from or even rely on fingertip grasps, such as tool use, insertion, and dexterous in-hand manipulation. That concludes motivation on fingertip grasps and tactile sensors. Now, this is how we do it. First, we infer and move into a pre-shape. That's a configuration where the robot is not in contact with the object. We infer that based on object pose and geometry while leveraging a pre-shaped grasp classifier that we trained in a simulator. After we move to the pre-shape, we close the hand. Finally, once the hand is closed, we evaluate our in-hand classifier to estimate the probability of a successful grasp. If the probability is above a desired threshold, we lift the object. If not, we repeat the process. Now, the core contribution of this work is the second step, closing the hand. Now, I will present that step in more detail. So here is the robot in a pre-shape configuration. In green is the estimated surface of the object. I want to emphasize that our approach does not rely on full shape reconstruction, but instead only on a sign distance function to object surface. Here I use the sign distance function to reconstruct the shape of the object only for visualization purposes. Now, leveraging the sign distance function, we run an optimization to find the configuration such that the fingertips are in contact with the estimated object surface. Here, the resulting configuration is shown in blue. The exact math of the function we are optimizing over is in the paper, of course, and I'll skip it here. I'll just note that we also optimize to make contact with the center of the fingertip to detect contact easier, since the sensor is more sensitive there. Now, while moving from the pre-shape configuration to the in-contact to the final configuration, the robot might detect contact before it was planned for. In that case, the fingertip in contact stops where it is and doesn't move further. If the robot reaches the planned configuration but is not in contact, then it follows the SDF gradient. Now, important part to take away from this slide is that we leverage tactile sensors to account for uncertainty in estimated object shape. Finally, the robot squeezes the object a bit to prevent slipping and lifts it. Here are some examples of resulting grasps. Our approach works out of the box even if we use only 2 fingertips instead of all 4. So we tested our approach on a bunch of different objects that are shown here. For the objects in the back row, the bigger objects, roughly 3 out of 4 attempts result in a successful grasp. The smaller objects in the front are, however, a bit more challenging. In particular, once we start moving to the planned configuration, we make contact with the table, and the current approach stops when contact is detected. Another drawback of our approach is that it is optimization-based, which may not be the fastest way to do this. Nevertheless, our approach was able to outperform previous state-of-the-art methods, which used simple heuristic controllers for closing the hand. And we demonstrate that quantitatively in the paper. Thank you for your attention.